The following game has no ESRB rating, nor is there any sort of restrictive content warning or any sort of warning as to what may be in the game. From what I have played so far, it doesn't seem to have anything worrisome in terms of age-restrictive content. So if I were to guess, if it were to have an ESRB rating, I would say most likely it would be rated E for everyone. So following that guess, and having never completed the game, I can't say exactly the whole of it just from my experience, but I would say that anyone under the age of 6 should not be watching this video. You have been warned.
Greetings and salutations, I am Outlier and I bid you welcome to this channel. Joining me today is of course my usual co-hosts, Snowball and Wolf. And today we're returning back to Autonauts. So the premise of Autonauts is that you are in charge of building and developing a colony on an alien world for your people. And while you can build every facility and harvest every resource and mine every little thing that you then refine into every other little thing which you then use to build something else, it can get tedious and monotonous relatively quickly. And luckily you don't have to do all the tedious, monotonous, and repetitive tasks, because in addition to building every facet of your colony and every processed resource that your colony needs to grow and thrive and operate on, you can actually construct an entire endless army of programmable robots do all of the menial and repetitive tasks for you. Well, I have maintained several critical parts of the I don't want to say resource gathering chain, but certainly the robot production chain, which I manually operate, so they can't exactly build an infinite number of themselves and revolt. Plus, that mechanic isn't actually in the game, so no robot revolting. For those who haven't seen last episode, or any of the last couple episodes, I managed to, what I would assume was, deal with every resource shortage and crisis that I had at the time. It seemed like every time I ran out of a resource and did something to tweak its production flow so that way it's no longer a shortage over that particular resource, something else ran out. And I think I've gotten it down mostly. Now all I have to do is upgrade a whole bunch of stuff and watch as other resources that I didn't think I would run short on, I run out of. I end up with shortages elsewhere. It seems to be the running theme of this game. You gather enough resources for whatever you're currently doing. You unlock more stuff, which requires newer and better and higher quantity resources. at which point your existing supply chains and manufacturing capabilities are lacking, and that gets shown in the fact that you run out of whatever you need to continue on and everything gets bogged down. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's an interesting mechanic. It's one of the things that I enjoy about this game. You know, not so much causing the problem, but having to, or technically even having to basically rebuild everything to account for something I didn't originally account for. But realizing that there's sometimes a better way of doing things that I didn't think of before, than having to go back and readjust and tinker with things so that way they end up better and things don't slow to a crawl. So that's the gist of the game, and I believe that there is an end game. You're not just so much building a colony just to build a colony. You do have to get the colonists to an age of enlightenment where they reach. Well, to be honest, I'm not actually certain what they reach. I've gotten as far as food and shelter. Now I just need one of the the third of the big necessities, clothing, which I don't recall I even have researched yet. So all my colonists are technically unclothed. I'm assuming, given the non-adult rating of this game, it doesn't really address that fact. But if you think about it, yeah. Anyway, so that may be something I plan on tackling this episode. I don't actually remember what I was doing last because I haven't really played it since the last time I made another episode because I don't want to, do something off camera, realizes, oh, it's neat and snazzy. I should have recorded that, and only to, well, not have it recorded because I wasn't filming. And I can keep rambling on, or I can start playing the game. And I'm sure no one here is interested in some crazy person talking to a camera to himself. So, as such, this game is, of course, made by. Thank you again. And that being said, let us begin. Okay, so here's the colony. As I said in the introduction, it's, well, unchanged since last I left. I was going to say, isn't there like a second column of turf? But no, the columns of turf are here. This is cut grass. Fun. Anyway, so last episode I moved the weed farms. Don't read too much into that. From here to here because I had flow issues. One of the main resource crises that I have, and technically it's still ongoing because this one guy can't move fast enough to haul all the weeds that they have stored to here where they can be used to make food, which I'm actually out of because all of the non-feed the colonists raw material food requires weeds, at least for now. I mean, once I upgrade the mixing pots, I can use other things, most notably, I mean, if I look like right here at the crude cooking pot as opposed to the crude mixing pot. Where is my character? Oh, there he is. I have access to various soups and stews and whatnot, but they all require fresh water, which I don't actually have access to just yet. I mean, I do have access to fresh water. It's right here. This is the fresh water right here. I accidentally set up shop right next to drinkable water, which is kind of a necessity if this was real life. What I don't have is a means of collecting and storing it set up yet, so I can't technically use it as a resource just yet. However, I mean, it is technically next to a swamp, so I don't really know how good it is for drinking. But this is all the stage 3 food that I need to, I guess, get to stage 3. And then the stage 2 stuff outside of the watery porch required required weeds to make. And since I'm running low on weeds, they're not making the food, even though all the other types of resources that I need to make the foods are maxed out, practically. So
I mean, one way that it can solve the weed transmission, well, the weed flow issues is to just, rather than dealing with a quality solution, deal with a quantity one. Basically, build more bots and have them move weeds from the farms.
Don't read too much into that.
To the cooking storage, where it can then be used and disseminated. The only problem is, the main reason why I had issues with the original weed farm,
Don't read too much into that,
is because they were pulling out as many weeds as they were putting in, and for every weed that gets pulled, they need one to replant. So if they pull, say, 100 weeds in an hour, and they use 100 weeds in an hour, there isn't enough to actually regrow, and the farm was starting to slowly produce less and less and less. So I solved that with a quantity solution, and by making a second weed farm.
don't read too much into that.
But if I have a supply issue in terms of logistical flow, if I mitigate that with another logician, basically hauling weeds from weed storage 3 to weed storage 6, I will probably end up with the exact same problem, because just as many weeds will be leaving for cooking purposes as are going in. Although I think I tweaked everybody's program so that way they collect things a little bit faster. Plus, unlike last time, and using basic bots for the original weed farms,
Still don't read too much into that.
I'm now using standard bots for the work, and the fields are actually bigger than they used to be. But I'm sure I can probably solve the problem eventually through various methods. So, as usual, the solution to pretty much everything is build a robot. Alright, so I'm going to need a battery upgrade for you, because every robot that I make has a battery upgrade. And because I plan on having you be a logician, you're also going to need a speed upgrade as well. Come on. Alright. This is what I want you to do. You're going to not come over here. You're going to come over here. You're going to move to weed storage 3 and take from weed storage 3. You're going to do this until your hands are full. You're going to come all the way over here and drop it off. Alright. Then you're going to do that until your hands are empty. And you're going to do all of that forever. Actually, no, you're not going to do all of that forever. You're going to do all of that until... Wrong one. Question mark filled. Question mark being weed storage 6. And you're going to do all of that forever. Now go. Alright, so we'll see by the end of the episode if that's now full and this is completely empty and the fields are, well, half unsown. In the meantime, I had also planned on changing out Smith & Sons, because everybody's pulling sticks from here and stick storage is running low, and I technically have 2 lumber yards. So I need from them to pull instead from this stick storage to pull from this stick storage, which is the centralized stick storage I set up end of last episode, but I haven't got around for them to doing that yet, and I realized that guy's still on power. So that is one thing that I'm going to have to work on. I do also have new plans in terms of baking, where I need to build an oven, bake bread, and store bread. I also have construction where I need to build sandy tracks and dry stone walls. I also have masonry, which is I build the masonry bench and mine rock mass and shape stone blocks. And I also have the plan to breed and grow carrots and coconuts, which have been on the books for probably the last half dozen episodes, and I just never get around to it. It's practically a running joke by this point. Anyway, just rewind you, because you're out of power, and I don't have a retarder for, well, right here. And since you're holding a spade, I'm guessing you're the guy that's, well, one of the guys that's digging up stumps for the replanting of trees, because if they don't dig up the stumps and replant the trees, the 1 to 2 guys chopping the trees will clear cut this entire field when I'm not looking. Alright, so what I'm going to need is I'm going to need more robots. I'm always going to need more robots, and speaking of more robots, you, Mark 1-89, you are now a logician. I mean, technically you always were a logician, but now it's official. Right, and I need more robots because my plan is to basically centralize all of my agriculture. I'm going to basically dig up this whole area and just plant more fields. They're not going to be weed farms.
Don't read too much into that.
But it's going to be like, one's going to be grain, another's going to be berries, another will be mushrooms, and a third will be pumpkins, because these fields are smaller because they were designed and built when all I had to work with are basic bots, and the basic bots don't have that great of a search pattern, at least not compared to the standard ones. To be fair, the standard bots is only like 2 squares, well, 1 square in every direction. So instead of a 13 by 13 search zone, it's 15 by 15, and I'm sure the Mark II bots, which I can research but don't want to because I have enough issues with 2 generations of robots, will probably be larger than that. So my plan for right now is to basically build a whole bunch of robots and have them basically dig up all the remaining fields simultaneously. Alright, unlike the logicians, I believe these robots just simply need spare batteries. I mean, they could work faster, but their main job is just essentially, well, for now, digging up and moving turf. And right now, I just need a battery for that. Should probably move you out of the way. Alright, so I need 1 for wheat, 1 for pumpkins, 1 for berries, and 1 for mushrooms. Technically, carrots and coconuts, if and when I ever actually get around to, well, making those. So that's what, 6 fields? And assuming I have 2 robots per field, I need 12 robots. So this is group 1 of 3. And I say group 1 of 3 because I can only hold 4 of any one specific type of parts at one time. It depends upon the thing that I'm hauling. I can only ever hold 1 log at once, or 2 gears. You already have a battery. Oh wait, hang on. Wrong robot. Alright. Can I carry more than 1 shovel at once? This is going to eat into my shovel storage, isn't it? It's like it's the one piece of equipment that I don't have a ridiculously large pile of just sitting around, because half the robots actually use shovels in their daily jobs. And I just realized I'm actually going to need 24 robots, because if I have 2 diggers per field and 2 guys hauling turf, that's 4. And if I need 6 fields, that's 4 robots per field and 6 fields. That's 24. I really got to learn to do math in my head. And who did I just give that shovel to? Seriously, who did I give that shovel to? Oh, I didn't give it to anybody. I just dropped it on the ground. Okay, fine. You get a shovel. This is what I want you to do. You're going to come over here. You're going to dig here. We're going to dig the nearest turf in this. It actually gets 17 by 17. So in this 15 by 15 area, you're going to dig up all this turf. You're going to do that until your hands are empty, at which point you're going to come over here. Oh no, come over here and grab a new shovel. Going to do that, well, for now, forever. Now go. And technically, I would probably need 36 robots, because I would also need rechargers for the existing robots. So, this is what I want 1-92 to do. You're basically going to be doing the exact same thing. And by basically the exact same thing, I mean the exact same thing. No, not until hands full, until hands empty. At which point, you again come back here and grab a new shovel. I'm going to do that forever, now go. Now you two, because this turf won't stay here, it will eventually dissipate if I don't actually do anything with it, and for some reason I'm not willing to just simply let the turf just up and disappear. What you are going to do is you are going to find nearest turf, in this 15 by 15 area. Actually, you know what? Let's make it 17 by 17. Just on the off chance the turf ends up outside the bounds of the digging. I don't think it will, but just in case. But you're going to pick up the turf, and you're going to do this until hands empty, at which point you're going to come to this exact spot and drop it off. And while it says drop all, and I'm not certain if it matters, I'm going to do that until hands are empty, at which point, in which you're going to do all of this forever. Now go. Right, and I did that wrong, so until hands empty, until hands... well, this one's supposed to be until hands full. Now go. And you are going to, again, be doing the exact same thing. If I can click right. And you're going to be dropping off in the exact same spot. I'm gonna do that until hand's empty, and do all of that forever. Now go. Alright, so that's one field, and once that's done, I'll figure out how to get, I'll get rid of the spare berry bushes and mushrooms and grass. Alright, and they finished researching log cabins. Goody. Which is another thing I get to build, and apparently it needs straw. So the crude hut needs logs. The log cabins need straw. It doesn't need logs as well. That's just plain weird. I think the more advanced structure would need the same resource. It'd just be like an upgrade. Although to be fair, it does also have a different footprint. I mean, the log cabin's 2 squares vertically. The cabin is 2 squares vertically and 2 squares horizontally in this weird L-shaped thing. Which means I'm going to have to upgrade all of the log cabins, which is probably a good thing given the fact that they're all busted anyway. Where's the robot hauling the... He's out of power. No wonder why all the cabins broke. There we go. And I should probably focus on... They have a spare 1,200. Okay, I mean, it's all gonna get researched eventually, so let's start researching better livestock farming, which, I mean, I don't have livestock farming to begin with, so, you know, probably going to just be just livestock farming. So, grab one thing of grass and toss it in here, just so that way they have something to start researching. And it's raining. Alright, so I'm going to need 4 more bots to basically keep digging this field. Although technically, if I think about it, I don't actually need 24 robots. I just need... I mean, I guess technically I just need 6. You know, if I wanted to only do one field at a time. As opposed to simultaneously. Now what I can do is, once they're done digging this field, just move all of these search areas down another chunk and just have them work, well, on that. And I forgot the batteries. Now I do wonder if... What'll happen when I get 1,000 of the same type of robot? Because if it's Mark 1 0-94 and that's the default name, what's going to happen when I make 1,000 of these? Is it just going to like recycle the number, or is the game going to throw a fit? Of course, part of me wonders if I can actually, if the game will actually support 1,000 robots. I mean, I'm only at 159 right now, and that's with both Mark 1s and Mark 0s running around. Don't actually know if there's an upper limit of robots. But if I keep at it, I'll probably eventually find out. And they're actually out of shovels. This is literally my last shovel that I have in storage. Alright, this may actually be a bad idea. What did I grab a tree seed? Man, I'm officially out of shovels. They're pulling shovels out as fast as as they're being made, which means I have a supply shortage of tools. Which means I am probably going to need to make more, have more people building, well, crude spades. Alright, for right now, let's just get you started. So, I want you to come over here. Of course, it doesn't help the fact that, I mean, in terms of shovel usage, it doesn't help that all my new teams don't have recharges yet, and the diggers are currently out of power, so yeah. Right, and I have no way to program the fact that he needs to come over here and grab a new shovel. I mean, I have no... one thing that I've seen them talk about for an update is being able to copy programming from one bot to another, and that would be rather helpful if I could do that, but for right now I actually can't. So what I'm going to have you do is I'm just going to have you stop. And I'm going to build another bot. Nope, that's actually the variant bottom. Battery. Problem is, I don't actually have a spare workstation right now. So what I can do is, have him borrow this one, but that means I'm either going to have to move it when I reset the whole of Smith & Sons, or I'll just build a new one. Of course, then the big question becomes where? I guess probably right here. And for that, I'm going to need 2 logs and 2 sticks. Sticks I have storage of right here. I need 2, not 3. Also rewind you, so that we can rewind him. Then grab 2 logs. Alright, you're going to be building shovels, and this guy. Mark 1-98. This is what I want you to do. You're going to come over here, grab a stone. I'm going to drop it off here. I'm going to come over here, grab a stick, going to drop it off here. I'm going to take this and put it here. I'm going to do all of this until this question mark is filled, at which point you're going to do all of that forever. Now go. Here's the newest Smith & Son. Alright, where's my other guy making shovels? Yeah, okay, so it's basically the exact same thing.
Okay. And now I have spare shovels, so you... Programming did not take. You know, it was you. You are going to come over, and the shovels are empty now. I'm going to come over here and grab a new shovel. I'm going to do all of that forever. Now go. Maybe he was the wrong robot. I don't actually know. Oh well. Because I have a random spare shovel just sitting right here, and he already has a shovel. Anyway, so what I'm going to have you do is you're going to come over here and basically do the exact same thing. Alright, now you two, you're going to come over here. You're going to find the nearest dug up turf in this 17 by 17 area. And you're going to do this until hands full, at which point you're going to drop that off here as I get yet another. I mean, it's not a massive stack of turf just yet, but give it time. They haven't even gotten halfway down the field yet. Alright, you're going to do that until hands empty, and do all of that forever. Now go. And you... I'm going to come over here and basically do the exact same thing. Now I'm going to need 4 variant robots, because I'm going to need recharging bots for these guys, and I like using the variants as the rechargers, so that way I can tell which one's the recharger and which one isn't. Because the rechargers also have finite power, and they'll eventually run out, so... It's helpful to figure out which one's the recharger and which one isn't when they look different. So that way I can rewind the recharger, and then the recharger rewinds everybody else. And I did not grab batteries. Can I actually install 2 batteries in the same bot? I cannot. Okay. That makes things easy. I was gonna say, like, my battery supply is gonna run out because all the rechargers will get 2. So what you're going to do is you're going to come over here and rewind this robot. You'll find the nearest discharged robot in the 17 by 17 area. And you're going to do that forever. Now go. And stop, because I'm going to have the other guy, this one, train on the other unpowered robot. Alright, and they should be good. And then when the digging robots here run out of power, I'll program the other 2 recharging robots to recharge them.
Or, I guess I could have them practice on some random other robot that's unpowered, that isn't within range of a recharging robot. Almost clicked the wrong button there. Alright, and as soon as somebody runs out of power, they should head over there to recharge them. Alright, now one thing I do need, but I don't need a standard bot for right now, so I'm just going to use Mark 60 right here for a temp position. What I'm going to have him do is he's going to pick up this cut grass, and I just need the entire stack moved. For right now. Eventually, I'll find a need for cut grass and, well, use it all, probably. Anyway, I need you to do all of this till hands are full, and then just drop it off, we'll say here. And then do that until hands empty, and then do all of that forever. Now go. And he's actually running low on power right off the bat. And he's actually out of power, but he ran out of power inside of a field, so one of the rechargers should take care of that. Right, now I can build more robots to basically keep digging fields, but to be fair, I kind of like my idea of have these two groups just simply dig up all the turf in an area, and then once the field's dug out, or at least of turf, move them down to build, well, the next couple of fields, and then the next pair until I have all the fields that I need, at which point I reassign these guys to work whatever fields they're currently at, and have more robots take over these fields once everything non-turf base has been cleared away. Which I might have the new robots do. Alright, so while they get done doing that, let me just recharge this robot and then pick up the shovel, because I have a shortage of shovels. Now not so much, because I have somebody else building shovels. Also, I have a decent supply of weeds at the cooking area, and, well, to be fair, still a maximum supply, which I find interesting. I would have guessed that the weed storage would have been, well, emptied completely. Or at the very least, it wouldn't still be at 100. Alright, so these guys still have broken houses. Clay pot storage, well, for the cooking area is almost maxed out. I mean, so is clay storage at the, what did I call this group? The Clay Cutters Guild, I think? Yeah, the Clay Cutters Guild is, well, halfway filled. They're out of raw pots, though, but that's mainly because they're only digging up clay so fast, and it takes 2 units of clay to make a bowl, so every time these guys, well, basically pull up one thing of clay, that's 1 bowl. And I think I have them building 2 bowls at once? No, just 1. Okay. Then he drops that over there. And then this guy, I'm having make 4 bowls at once. Right, upgrading the food. I was going to say, like, what was I doing? But then I remembered, oh yes, this. So this one's making upgraded pumpkin food, so I'm gonna have you, once you're done doing your thing, and you drop it off, I'm gonna have you stop. So that way I can actually upgrade this. And I'm actually going to need 4 clay, 4 sticks, and a torch. That's going to be difficult given the fact that clay is... Okay, where do the clay cutters go? Who's making the bowls? You? I'm going to need you to stop real quick. Of course, it doesn't help. I would say it doesn't help the fact that the guy picking up the clay from where it gets mined only has the ability to haul 2 clay at once. You're the recharger. You're the recharger. Stop. So you're constantly holding 2 things of clay. So now he should drop it all off once his hands are, until his hands are empty. So he basically hauls 3 things of clay off at once. In which case I come back over here, drop off the clay. Then I need 4 sticks. Luckily, primary stick storage is now right next to it. Then I need a torch. Where are my torches? Technically, my torches aren't anywhere because... a torch is something I need to build. If memory serves, I need to build it from here. So I need 1 stick and 4 straw. Luckily, I maxed out on straw. Unluckily, the guys that produce the straw don't base whether or not they work off of whether or not the straw storage is filled. So if I automate the means of building straw, I'm going to run out of straw and no one will notice or care. Because straw is a byproduct of cereal crop growing, and it's based off of cereal seeds that are stored as to whether or not they keep working. And since I don't really use cereal seeds for anything except growing more cereal crops, because any food recipe that requires cereal seeds also requires clay pots and other things which I just didn't have access to just yet. Okay. Now that that's done, you can go. And he should just keep making his regular recipe. That's assuming, of course, he doesn't run out of power. Here we go. Okay, what's going on? Stop, drop everything, and start. Oh, he already had something. He was already holding our thing, RV pumpkin. He didn't get a chance to drop it off yet. I thought that if I had him stop halfway through, he'd drop it off first. Okay, problem solved. Next one. Now, once he drops this off, now he stops, and I upgrade this one. Okay, what is marked 0-28? A different color from the rest of the farmer's bob, and he's sitting in the wheat field. Oh, he's collecting eggs. Because apparently the guy hauling the chicken laying eggs moved down to this field for some strange reason. Stop. Record. Back up here. Maybe a little bit more down. And then go. Okay. Anyway. Torch. I gotta pay attention to what I'm doing. I'm just gonna grab a stick from here. Alright, now that's upgraded, so you can go back to starting. Right, and because I made certain his hands were empty beforehand, I don't have to worry about messing with things. And as for you, you stop, upgrade this. Okay, that's 3 done, and you can go back to work. And the 4th one. Okay, now stop. So now you can upgrade his cooking station as well. And most of the cabins are back up to being fixed now, so that's the wrong one. So now they're generating 10 times love again. And even though I doubled shovel production, they're out of shovels again. That is not a good sign. Alright, now that's finished upgrading, you can go back to work. And we should be good there, which also means the better livestock farming has been researched. So now I can get access to hay bales, pitchforks, which stab enough cut grass to convert into a hay bale. Okay, and a barn. And I unlocked a new level of research. Oh goody, because my colony isn't complicated enough. Alright, so the new level 4 research now gets me construction technology, power technology, pottery technology, metal technology, basically a whole pile of extra stuff, including more structural parts, windmills, apparently different kinds of pots, smelting and metalworking, better recipes for baking, brick houses, larger storages, crude metal tools, which probably don't break as quickly. I can apparently make string. Right. Right. I researched everything so much to the point where I'm actually looking at things 2 levels above where I'm currently at. Because I'm currently working on level 2 technology, and all I have left is just machine parts, basic textiles, and Mark II bots. And there's apparently a whole level of level 3 that I didn't even realize existed. I mean, okay. Alright. Okay with that. So, what was it doing? Oh, yeah. you are already back at work, so we're good. Alright, so what can I build now? I can build a barn. It requires 8 logs, 6 square frames, 6 panels, and 10 fixing pegs. Because, yeah, that makes because it's a big building, so it requires a lot of complex resources. And I'm actually out of raw pumpkin. That's interesting. What can I make here? I wonder if that's the logician collecting the pumpkin seeds. Or the pumpkin chunks. And he is! So that explains why I'm out of raw pumpkin. Meantime, build pitchforks. Right, okay. No, there's a reason why I stopped at 10 colonists. Anyway, need to research more stuff. Should probably finish level 2 before I get on to level 3. I mean, it's just a thought that I had, and I can also upgrade this. So let's get crude parts, well, better machining parts. The thing that I need the gear for, whatever it's called. Machine parts, just simply because this is a straight up upgrade from stuff I already have. And then once I'm done everything for level 2, I'll upgrade the research facilities so that way I can keep track of what's level 2 and what's level 3. And if I look at the Autonautopedia and the pinned plans, fishing requires level 3 research, as does, well, all of these. But I can also pin farming livestock and, well, for cows and farming livestock for sheep. Do I have to make my own cows and sheep? It'd be weird if I had to. Of course, I also have to make carrot seeds and coconuts from other types of plant life, so I mean, I guess it makes sense. Given the fact that I got the colonists by basically rehydrating their frozen chunks. I mean, I guess I have livestock DNA on storage somewhere. Alright. I have to pen 10 cows, milk 50 cows, and store 50 milk for the farming cow livestock. And farming sheep, it's pen 10 sheep, shear 50 sheep, and store 50 fleece. So basically I have to get 10 cows and 10 sheep and have each of them produce whatever they produce 5 times. Okay then. I mean, now I have 8 shovels, so I guess maybe it's just a supply and demand thing. You know, like everybody showed up for a new shovel all at once and I ran out. Speaking of stuff, they're actually done the new fields, so what I'm going to have you guys do next is rewind you, and you, and you, and you. Alright, so all the bots that aren't actually doing, well, aren't part of a team, gonna need you to stop. And then your new area will be down here. Now go. I'm guessing he stopped to pick up a new shovel.
is he now? Oh, he's still inbound. Okay. Right, and these guys are picked up the last of the turf that they can haul. So their areas also get moved down to here. Of course, I do have them going to the same... Oh, what, stop. Record. I'm going to have you move here now instead. So instead of moving to... So instead of moving to 22, 149, it's going to move to 26, 152. Now go. And the other one... We'll do the same. At least I think that's the same spot. Yeah, 226, 152. I guess it should be 226, mark 152. Just so that way, these stacks, which are currently ridiculously tall, don't get even more ridiculously tall. Alright, next group. Also, almost forgot, recharging bots. Areas also need to move. I mean, technically I could just do this straight down the list, but while I'm thinking about it, might as well do it on a per field basis. Alright, and the two guys hauling turf. Move from here to here. No, there. There we go. And you're gonna drop it off, say here. Yeah, 223 mark 152. Alright, so I now have 2 fresh fields. Well, almost. They still have to get rid of all this grass and these berries. And technically, I don't actually need to get rid of the berries. Get rid of these berries just simply because they're in the way and they're not on the field. Alright, do I take an axe to these flowers? No, I don't think so. How about a shovel? I'm just going to grab one thing of turf real quick and just pop it down here so that way that's filled. Alright. So, now what am I going to use these fields for? I'm going to move the berries and the mushrooms and the wheat and the pumpkins and technically the apples. Yeah, technically the apples. To these. So, I mean, I already have berries right here. So let me... Where are the berrymen? Of course, the one thing that... My one plan that I have is just to move this storage down here, so that way the logicians and everybody else don't have to worry about changing their programming. Which is part of the reason why I have a berry storage here when, you know, the colonists' berry storage is right next to it. That I had pre-planned for. One of the few things that I actually did. But if I just move the storage and leave the original berrymen to do their thing, they're still gonna harvest all these berries, and they're just basically gonna pick them up and take them hike them all the way down to this storage. which I'm technically fine with. Well, for right now. Um, what I am going to do is I'm going to have you guys stop. So I'm going to have the thrashers stop. Because I'm going to have them take apart this entire field. I don't need it anymore. So I need you to empty your hands. You're going to take this shovel. Instead of hitting the bushes with a flail to harvest the berries, what you are going to do is you are going to dig up the bushes instead. Basically the very field that they've spent all this time harvesting and maintaining from, they are going to basically destroy. And when you're done that, and my shovel actually broke, you're going to come down here and grab a new shovel. And I just realized, I put in a until question mark full loop in, and never bothered to designate that it was this thing. Oh, well, not needed. They are going to just basically dig up the entire bush now. Or not. Stop. You do have a shovel. I'm actually going to get rid of this question mark loop. There he goes. That's probably why he actually didn't do anything. Why he was over here just sitting around. I'm just gonna take this flail because he doesn't need it anymore. And which one's flail storage? Just dump it in here. Meantime, the other berryman Alright, you're actually here, so I'm going to pick you up and put you down here so that way I can easily see you. Then I'm going to have to grab a new shovel. That's a pick. I'm going to have to grab a new shovel. Hand this to you. Alright, and this is what I want you to do. You're going to come over here, and you are going to dig up an entire bush. Come over here and dig up an entire bush. And he's not recording, is he? He is not recording, so that's why I didn't do anything. You're going to come over here and dig up an entire bush. And your search area will be the entire field you used to work on. Get rid of all of these. Move this out of the until berry storage is full loop. I'm just getting rid of all that anyway. And I thought it would take everything inside the loop. I was wrong. Okay. And then come over here and grab a new shovel. Now go. Alright, now for the mushmen, and the reason why I'm doing... let me start over. And I'm going to leave the berry gatherers to do their thing until the field's cleared, because every time they remove a bush, the berries get dropped, so they're just going to keep collecting the berries until the berry storage is full, or until they run out of, well, berry bushes, which will eventually clear the field.
Right, and now the mushmen, I'm also retiring the field for. So where are they? Here we are. Alright, so mushroom storage is actually filled, but rather than reprogramming the bots to rip everything back up, what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the guys. Okay, so you're picking up a mushroom. You're moving the mushrooms to... So you're replanting the mushrooms. So what I'm going to have you do is I'm going to have you stop. And you're also going to empty your hands, just in case. And anybody else... Okay, you're actually picking up the mushrooms, so you're fine. You're the recharger. You are digging holes. So I'm going to have you stop as well. And I'm going to have you stop. Empty your hands. You're picking up mushrooms, and you are a recharge bot. Alright, so that way, I'm basically breaking up the cycle of the mushmen, so that way, the mushrooms, when fully grown and this area gets emptied, they'll keep harvesting the mushrooms and collecting the mushrooms for here, but they won't replant them. So eventually, the field will go back the way it was. And you were digging holes, so... Which one are you? I can't see. Mark 20. You are going to stop. I'm just going to refill in these holes real quick. I don't think he's sitting on a hole, but I could be mistaken about that. Nope, he is not. He's actually sitting on a mushroom. Okay. So this way, they'll now clear their field of mushrooms, but they won't actually lose any mushrooms. And once those fields are cleared... Alright, so as I was saying, let me actually harvest these mushrooms. Not mushrooms, berries. Just plop them in the field just because I'm also going to need one thing of turf to make this all nice and pretty. Also going to dig up this berry bush and these mushrooms and this berry bush. So I'm going to have the new berry field over here and the new mushroom field over here. I just got to get rid of this grass next. That's the main reason why I haven't removed these berry bushes yet. Because they're just gonna be here. I'll worry about these berry plants when these fields are done. Alright, now to make myself not a friend of the logicians. I'm still debating if I want to move the storages before or after they finish clearing the fields. Part of me wants to say after, but part of me also thinks it's gonna take a while. Alright, so to plant berries, it's been a while since I've had to make a berry field, but... yeah, berries come from the tree. Yeah, so I have to dig a hole, plant the berry, and then tree comes. So I am going to need a bot to dig all the holes. In fact, I'm fairly certain I can make this relatively easy-ish, kind of, sort of, maybe, but not really. I'm going to make 2 new bots. And spade storage is now full because... as I was trying to say, and spade storage is now pretty much filled, which is a good thing because more people are going to use shovels. Alright, so what I want you to do, you're going to come over here. And you're going to dig a hole. You're just going to dig soil in this area. Yes, 15 by 15 area. And you're going to do this until hands empty. At which point you're going to come over here and grab a new shovel. I'm going to do this forever. Now go. Now you also get a shovel. What I'm going to have you do instead, rather than dig up the soil, you're going to dig up this grass. There I can get him to clear out all the grass here. Just make that a 15 by 15 area, just because I can. Do that until hands empty. At which point you go back and grab a new shovel. You do all of that forever, now go. Right, and the 2 new guys that I just built and have ordered to dig up the new berry field, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put them as part of the mushmen. And I'm going to do that now, just so that way I don't forget that they're out there. And the reason why I'm making the mushmen and not berrymen is because the berries, once the plants themselves are planted, don't actually need holes dug in their field, whereas the mushrooms constantly need to be dug and planted. So once this field is fully... once he's cleared out all the grass, he's moving over here to clear out this area. And once he's cleared out all the grass here, I'm having him move back to finish digging holes here. And once all these holes are dug, they're moving over here to do the same. And once the grass is removed from this field and all the holes are dug, I'll build more robots to plant more mushrooms and then harvest the mushrooms and then move mushrooms to storage, which by then, hopefully this field will be completely cleared and I can move the storage down here and just program everything back to the same storage. And likewise, once all the holes are dug here, I can program another robot to basically gather up the berries and replant the berry trees. And once all the trees are finished, being planted, I can reprogram those bots to harvest and then collect the berries, and again move berry storage down here, even though their field is already about half empty. And then once these guys are done, these two fields, I'll probably do the same for pumpkins and apples, and move them down further to build 2 more fields, at which point I'll move the cereal crops. That's seawater. That's more seawater. Do I have any fresh water nearby, or is it just... Okay, so I have a small amount of fresh water over here. Because I can get more cereal crops if I water the tilled areas, which I haven't been doing. So I should get a boost for more cereal crops that way. Of course, by the time I actually get around to moving the cereal field, wheat field, or whatever you call this field, the cereal crop field, I'll probably actually getting around to actually using the cereal seeds. Oh, and I also probably need rechargers for these new areas, because he's already out of power. And speaking of robots, where is... Okay, the guy calling cut grass. Your area gets moved to here, and it also gets maxed out, so that way all the grass gets covered. Right, and recharging bot. Actually... the Mushroomen have one Mark 1 variant as a recharging bot. Right, these are the new guys. What's their other recharger? A standard bot, okay. And then the Berrymen, I don't think have any... Yeah, they also have one recharging bot that's a Mark 1 variant. So I actually only need 2. Because I can use the existing Mark 1 recharging bots for the new fields. Alright, you're gonna come over here, you're gonna recharge this robot. We do it in this 17 by 17 area. You're going to do that forever. Now go. And because this is going to be the new berry field, you get to be a berryman. I can find the team. There you are. And the other one... Alright, and they finished researching machine parts, which means I now have access to the good gear, the crank, the crude axle, and the wood shaping bench. Like I didn't have enough stuff to keep track of. Oh, and apparently it needs to be built on a floor. It requires a crude blade as well. Interesting. Okay. It's smaller given the fact... It's smaller than I think it would be, given the fact that it uses a whole pile of stuff. Anyway, did I install a battery in you? No, I did not. I was going to. Then research interrupted me. Alright, so... let's be honest, there's gotta be a unpowered bot somewhere. Here we are. Alright, so you're going to find a discharge robot in this 17 by 17 area. You're Going to do, and then you're going to recharge the bots and all that fun stuff. Do that forever. Now go. In the meantime, oh, and since this is going to be the new mushroom field, you, by default, become a mushman. Right, now, the mushman that is... Let's close Smith and Sons real quick. Find nearest grass. And okay, so he's finished all the grass here, so what I'm going to have him do is basically move over to the next field. So that way he starts digging up the grass there. And this guy picking up the grass gets his area moved to, well, here. And he's actually out of power. Was out of power. He's good now. Alright, and so as I was saying, once the berries are, well, once the berry field is, well, dug up, and then I'll have another bot plant the berries, and then reprogram everybody to, once the berries are finished, planted and fully grown, reprogram the bots, work in the new berry field to harvest and collect the berries, and everything will be basically as it was. Whereas with the mushroomen, well, the mushroom field, once this area is dug up, I'll have new standard bots, plant the mushrooms, and then dig up the mushrooms and collect the mushrooms, because I already have 2 bots digging holes. And I'll salvage the standard variant bots that are serving as rechargers for the old fields for the new ones, and we'll basically just move all the standard bots to the unemployment, well, the basic bots, I should say, to the unemployment line, because I won't have need for them anymore. Yes, I know. Somewhat sad because they're being replaced by better, shinier robots, but that's how everything works, I guess you could say. Why are you out of power? Never mind. Being recharged. You, however, are out of power, and there are no longer any weeds here. Why are there no longer any weeds here? I mean, weeds here are full. The Logician's probably out of power. Now, I really should build roads, make certain the robots follow the roads, and they have rechargers on the roads. So that way I don't have to keep rewinding random bots in random places. But, that's a work in progress, so eventually I'll have all this stuff moved from here to here. And in fact, they're actually almost done clearing the berry field. Of course, until the new field gets completely dug up and all that fun stuff, I may run low on berries. Which would be amusing given the fact that up until this point, I've had a massive surplus of berries, and at the point, up until now, didn't really know what I was going to be doing with any of them. What are you standing around for? Oh, he's probably waiting for people to become hungry. Of course, their houses are once again broken down, so I should probably look into having somebody else also haul logs. Meantime, I do need more research done. No, we'll actually go with the Mark II bots now. Don't plan on actually using the Mark II bots. It's just the only other thing that I have left to research is textiles. And I have a feeling that if I actually research textiles, I'm probably going to want to build an industry around textiles, which means another field. And they actually finished digging up this field. They're almost done this other one. Oh, goody. More stuff to keep track of and more stuff to figure out. Drop that off there. As my ever-growing towers of turf just keep going high, well, not really higher and higher, they're just more numerous now. Still out of raw clay pots. This is maxed out, though. I never told him to keep working, did I? Woodcutters Guild. No, I never told him to keep working. Get back to work. Oops. Alright, so that little problem has been fixed. And as I said, once they finish working on these fields, I'll get new bots in and basically move the fields, and then I'll have larger fields and everything will be ready to go, and it'll be fun and everything will be good. And did these guys... I did that wrong. I mean, I'm not certain why I'm trying to fix it. This field is done for all intents and purposes, so all I just gotta do is move them down to make a new field. That's cool. I was like, what is this? Well, and once all these fields have been moved, I can use this space that the old fields were in for other things. I mean, I do need to expand the Smith & Sons area, just simply because they're basically butting up against the apple orchard. And as I get new tools and need to produce more of the same tools, I need more space for all of that. Which the old fields would hopefully provide, since they're not being used for anything else. And then once all the old fields have been transplanted to the new fields, I can start working on new crops, because something tells me by the time they get done digging all these fields, I'll have textiles finished, and maybe eventually, but probably not, get around to carrots and coconuts. But all of that is going to be another issue for another day, because I'm going to call it here.
Everybody stay safe from the plague, and have a good day.